Well, good morning, our beloveds. We are trying to bring novel, new content that is not part of the arc or cycle of the trauma wound being activated, which is the hero's journey in one form or another. We can tell you what is going to come, but the point is not to predict what is going to come, but more to teach you resiliency. And so we go back to our standby, which is we want for you to understand where your nervous system is not operating optimally. When everything goes well, when you feel safe in your body, you don't notice the dysregulation. It is still there, but it is humming in the background. But as soon as something comes and reflects back to you, an instant, a moment, an experience where your nervous system didn't feel safe, or alternatively, a new moment or experience where you don't feel safe, your nervous system alerts you that there is something amiss. Your body goes from being calm and present, or agitated and present, because most of you are not in an actual calm state, but it is calmer. It is your norm. It is where you reside. Think of somebody who is currently at war. Their nervous system is always on edge, but it may not be activated until an event activates it, but you are still on high alert, waiting for that traumatic experience to round the corner. This is how most Americans and most Westerners and most humans experience life, with the exception of those who have the privilege of feeling safe within their bodies. It is obvious who you are and who you are not. But when a traumatic event occurs that shakes the world, think 9/11. It was not meant to happen. We are special here in the U.S. We are meant to be safe and protected. Those types of things happen elsewhere because they are not protected by God like we are. There's this expectation that if you are a follower or a believer in God, that you will always be protected and safe from atrocities. And now, most of you are beginning to realize and learn that being a believer in God, whichever God you happen to believe in, does not mean that you will be spared from atrocities. You will now begin to experience the dysregulation as much as others. Think of Noah's Ark. Did the universe care who drowned and who didn't? Were you spared because you were a good person? No, if you weren't in the boat, if you weren't in the floating device or up on high ground, you drowned. It didn't matter how good or how bad, how holy or how evil you were. Everyone perished because it was just nature. It was science, if you will. So for those of you who feel like you are protected because you are believers of whatever God that you believe in, that means that those who have been harmed either didn't believe enough in God or weren't loved enough by God to keep them out of harm's way. And that is not how the universe works. And the universe now is going to level the playing field, not because anyone is being punished, but because these are the natural consequences that arrive on everyone's doorstep. We have shared for months and for years the question or the request: what are you willing to stand up for? And what are you willing to die for? Many over the past 6 years have answered that question. and many haven't yet. But many more will be asked to show up, to stand up, to fight, to protect, to defend, to align with the victim, and to stand with righteousness. And many will perish. Nonetheless, even though they are loved by God, they are protected by God in the most natural way. But if you are in harm's way, you are in harm's way. So we just ask many of you to maybe detach from being alive or being dead and instead say, what am I willing to stand up for? What am I willing to die for? What is that important to me during these momentous times where there is so much uncertainty about where the universe is going to take us? God loves us all. God never punishes us, but there are natural consequences that arise, and you are no more special than the sinner next door to you. So maybe love them more than you love yourself, to show up as a follower of Christ or whatever other religion or belief system that you may have. Because maybe your neighbor has more to offer the universe than you have for whatever reason. Maybe they have special gifts. Maybe they have a special purpose. Maybe they are young and you are old. Maybe you just love them, care for them, and want to save them at the expense of yourself. When the Titanic is sinking, only a few select people will survive. This is the lived reality of all of those people who were on that boat. But what made the difference? Not whether you lived or died, but how you lived or died. May that be your beacon of hope and guidance into the future. And so it is. Namaste.